So welcome everybody to today's webinar. We've been looking forward to kicking this one off with Nextminute. So to give you guys a little bit of background, Carpentry Australia is constantly receiving requests from members and from our community for advice on how to go about managing teams, managing projects, and taking their business to the next level. And we've had discussions with a lot of different providers, but since we met the team at Nextminute, what we found, not only for some of our key members, which I'll talk about in a moment, but also for our own team internally, it's been absolutely fantastic. And I can say that hand on heart. So Alira, who's with us today, is the project coordinator for Carpentry Australia. And we have had the ability to fully customize our projects, both our Helping Hand Day construction-based projects, but also other projects as well, Alira.
Yep. So we've been managing our projects for Launch Into Work, Women in Construction, our sponsorship projects as well through the Nextminute software. Just because of our customizabilities, we've not been restricted. So it's been absolutely fantastic. And we're really happy to share it with everyone today.
Yeah. And I think one thing to share, one of our champions at Carpentry Australia is Glencoe Truss and Frame. And we know Jack personally, and Jack has been really impressed with the amount of job management function and looking after his team and the number of projects they're currently working on. So hearing that from our champion level members has been outstanding. But without further ado, I'm joined here by Emily from Nextminute, who's been supporting our team in setting up our system with Nextminute. But today, Emily's going to be walking through exactly what Nextminute is, what makes them different, and how members of Carpentry Australia can benefit. So thanks, Emily, for joining us, and I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, guys. Hi, everyone. As Nathan said, my name is Emily. I am from the team at Nextminute. I've got some slides to run through, and then I'll go into the product itself and give you a really quick overview of how it works. We won't go into too much detail because, like Alira said, it is quite customizable, so we could spend all day just looking in the product and the features. But we're really excited to have the partnership with Carpentry Australia. Like Nathan said, Jack from Glencoe really put us through the ringer with testing Nextminute to make sure it works, and we came out the other end and they are thriving with us. So just seeing those testimonials come to life really helps our team progress further, but it gives us a bit of life in the business. So who are we is the first thing. Our story, we were founded in Auckland, New Zealand in 2016. I'll kind of talk to the story more than reading it, but our founder is a software developer, and he was actually having his house renovated, and as part of that he was finding that he couldn't get the invoices and the payments and stuff from the contractor on a timely basis. He wanted to have progress claims sent to him so he wasn't getting stuck with like a huge bill at the end of the project. And for the contractor, he was like, well, that works great because it also helps with my cash flow, so happy to do it. But then he was never able to send the invoices. And it's the age-old story. I think every single construction business that we talk to has the same problem, where they're like, well, timesheets are sent to me on WhatsApp, and then I have to sit there and enter them into whatever payroll system we're using. And then all of my receipts, the boys have them when they go out to Bunnings or My or wherever they're going to purchase their supplies, and then they have to send me photos of them, and then I have to get someone else to put them into the system to collate them all. And then by the time that's all done, I get a phone call and I've got to run back to the job site because there's a problem, so I don't have any time at my computer or in the office. And then it's the weekend, so I want to spend time with my family, so I put it off till next week. So that was part of his problem, and he just wasn't able to get all the information really quickly and really easily. So our founder was like, well, I build softwares. Can I build something for you? And that's kind of how it came about. So our mission is to help residential construction and trade businesses run more efficient, profitable businesses so that you can get time back. We did a few surveys with our existing customer base across Australia and New Zealand to find out, what is it that they actually want to achieve by running their own business. And it was that they want to get their time back. They wanted to have more control over their life so they can spend time with family and friends. They felt like they were being weighed down by paperwork, the stresses of running a business, how much money they're making, tax time, all that kind of stuff. So what do? We are job management, all in a mobile app and also a computer desktop version. It's one powerful software that can help you streamline all of your projects, help you manage your team, your crew, and your finances. So you're going to be able to see everything from one spot. It integrates into your payroll or financial software. So if you're using Xero or MYOB accounting software to help run payroll or get your profit and loss and your tax time done, we sync into those softwares as well. And pretty much everything you need to do, from the quoting aspect of the job all the way through to, are you going to make profit and do you have a healthy margin at the end of the job? We want to make sure that at every stage you are in control of who's doing what, where people are, and what money needs to go in and out of the business specifically for each job. So your accounting software and your accountant, they're always going to be able to provide your overall business analysis of profit and loss, balance sheet, what you are at tax time. Nextminute's going to help you look at, for that job, that house that we're building at the moment, how much more time do we need to put into it and how much more money needs to go into it. So at the end, you can make sure that you're covering all your costs. Now, I know a few of you had answered a survey about what software you were using already. So there is a lot of construction or project management softwares in the market. It is very saturated. I tossed and turned about putting this slide into the deck today because it can be a little bit confusing, but I think it really highlights where Nextminute sits within the space of job management. So we look at it from, there is project management and there is field service and maintenance management softwares. So that's where we worked out Nextminute fits, is we have a really easy product to use, a really easy app to use, but we have almost as many features as some of the big boys in the market as well. So this kind of helps explain lots of brands that you've probably seen or heard of before, but maybe don't have the time to analyze completely. If you did want to compare, so if you are using a product and you're not quite sure, like if you're using Tradeify and you're not quite sure how Nextminute stacks up, we do have links on the website that help explain kind of feature by feature, that happy to send out to anyone if you want to have a look. So why us? Look, I've kind of mostly said what we do, but we automate and streamline your business. We help you run a modern and efficient business as well. So what we're seeing at the moment is we've got these like older guys who started their business 40 years ago with a young crew coming in, their apprentices coming in. And the old guys are like, well, I've always done it this way, so I don't want to change. It works for me. And the young guys are like, but if I can't do it from my mobile, I'm not doing it. So I'm not going to log my timesheets because it's too hard to write it on a piece of paper and send you a photo. That's complicated to them. So it's kind of keeping up with the times of getting an app that helps you run your business. It's also really good for your succession plan if anyone's in that position where they're looking to get out of business or retire soon. Everything's in one spot. So all your notes, your photos, files that relate to the job, all the expenses, all the timesheets, any purchases you make, all your invoices, quotes, they're all going to be kept together in one spot. It is like a filing cabinet for a job that you can access from your phone or from your computer. Everyone stays connected as well. So there's no more back and forth about, hey boss, where do I need to be tomorrow? I'm not sure what I'm working on. They'll have it in the app. They'll know what task and what job they need to be working on. They'll know the job address or the site address they need to go to. And there can be a note and some photos and some files attached to it. So it's really clear on who needs to be doing what. Even though we were founded in New Zealand, we did move across to Australia 4 years ago now, and we have designed the product for an Australian-based customer, and our focus moving forward is mostly in Australia, and we have an awesome Sydney-based team, so you are speaking to local team members when you need help. You can pick up the phone and call us, you can send us a chat, you can send us a Facebook message, you can email us, you can watch our videos. So we don't restrict the way that we communicate with our customers. We know that for you guys, picking up the phone and making a phone call is probably the best and most effective way to communicate, because you know that your computer all the time. So we are more than happy to pick up the phone and we'll meet you on the job site. We will go to the pub with you and help you set up your account there if you want.
Emily, I'll jump in that. I think one of the things that really stood out to us from our perspective and also echoed from members was the amount of support that's provided. Like there's not only there's a whole series of videos to help you navigate and overcome any problems. But this support team is probably one of the strongest things in making sure that people utilize the platform to its full benefit. And also echoing what you said before about the specificity of Nextminute for carpenters. A lot of our members have said that they've used some of the bigger apps, but there's too many features in it that they just don't use. So I just wanted to echo that from our perspective in terms of the support not only you provide, but also I think it's Kate as well provides the team and Jack as part of training. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
We are really proud of our support team. We don't limit any of the training support either. So there's no like you only get 3 hours worth of training and then you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
We will handhold as much as we can because
which is invaluable. Absolutely.
It is. And it's in our best interest to make sure that any of our clients or anyone who's using our product is having the best experience possible. And 90% of the time, it's just an education issue. It's not that our product can't do it. It's just that you don't know how. So we need to teach you. That's our job.
Yeah.
And then just a little bit more. So it works on any device. So you're not restricted to just Apple phones. It does work on iOS and Android. It can work on tablets. It works on laptop. It works on a desktop computer. So anywhere, anytime, you're going to be able to access 99% of the information that you'll need. And you can monitor real life profitability. So at any point in time, as long as you have put your costs into the system, we're going to be able to tell you, are you making a healthy profit on a job? Or are you going to go over your estimated costs and therefore need to do a variation to the job, for example? And then we automate, so we will sync your timesheets for your payroll. We will push all of your invoices and expenses back into your accounting software. So, the accountant and bookkeeper can do their thing. As members of Carpentry Australia, so as the partnership has kind of flourished, we have come up with some really cool benefits for Carpentry Australia members. So for anyone who is interested in looking at Nextminute, you will get some cool extra bits and pieces. One of them is a 20% discount on your Nextminute subscription for the lifetime of your subscription. So as long as you stay a member with Carpentry Australia and a member with Nextminute, you get a 20% off discount. 10-day free trial period, which we can extend if needed. During that 10-day period, if you have kind of booked in a trial, had a conversation with our team, we will help you get set up in that 10-day period. So essentially getting another 10 days for free before actually having to pay. And like I just said, unlimited local training and support. So we don't limit any of our training and support for Carpentry Australia members. We will never kind of turn you away and say, no, we can't help you, go watch a video. We will record specific videos to answer your questions so you can watch them when you're available, or we will try and book in meetings with you. And we are happy to work outside of hours as well. So if 7 a.m. is the time that works for you before you get to job site, great, that's when we'll do it. If it's 6 p.m. after you get home, great, that's when we'll do it as well. So I'm going to jump into the system now and just give you a really quick overview of what it looks like. So this is the Nextminute desktop version. The app can also be accessed via mobile app, so via Android or iOS devices on both mobile and tablet. But today I'm going to show you the product using the desktop version. So I've just logged in from my laptop. Once you've logged in, what you see here is the job screen, and each of these squares represents a job card. So you can see on here, they've got different names, they've got different job numbers, and there is also different types, statuses, priority levels. All of these colors and whatnot can be customized. And we can also see on here the job site that we need to go to. You can see that there's some additional information uploaded to this job card. So there's some photos, there's some notes, there's some files attached. And we've also started accruing some costs to this job. So some charges, some timesheets, anything that costs you to run the job can be uploaded into the job card. And then we'll let you know how much is remaining to be billed. There's also different people that can be assigned to each job. So we can assign different staff members once they're set up as users into the job. Now, if I click onto the job on the right-hand side, just move myself. On the right-hand side is some additional information that relates to this job. So up the top here, you've got your tasks, any linked contacts, photos, notes, scribbles, files, charges that have been accrued, quotes, invoices, supplier bills. And then down here, you've got, this job status, the customer it relates to, the address, any notes, internal information, who's been assigned, when it's scheduled for. We've also got a breakdown of the costs. So in here, if I go to scheduled tasks, it then shows me I've got 3 tasks assigned to this job. So there's removal and replacement of roof, that's been completed. There's gutter installed, which is currently in progress, and then flashing install, which is scheduled for a later date. Each of these tasks act like a mini job card. So if we go into the task, it's going to show me very similar to what the job card looked like, where I can upload photos, files, notes, charges, quotes, all against the task. Anything that gets uploaded at the task level will always round up to the job level. So if I add a photo here, I will be able to see it within the task and within the job. So this is really helpful if you're taking, before and after photos of something, or if you need to take a photo to kind of explain, where something needs to be fixed or replaced, you can do so using that photos, and it will be seen at the task and at the job level. Also, what's really helpful is you can add quotes to a task. So if there is a variation or a change to the job or an additional task that needs to be completed that was not included in your original quote, you can create a quote within the task level that is linked specifically to that task, and the customer then has to accept that quote and the additional charges that come with it. So on that note, I'll go back to the job card, show you. So in here, we've got quotes. I've actually got 2 quotes set up. One's the original quote and one is for a variation, which I haven't yet completed. So with the original quote that was sent out, it's been accepted and it was for the value of $1,184. Opening up the quote, you can see the different line items that have been added. They're categorized as labor, material, or disbursement. And then you can see the quantity, the units, the buy price, markup, and sell price. So the buy price, everything within Nextminute, whether it's a timesheet or whether it is a material cost, will have to have a buy and sell price. The buy price is how much it's going to cost your business, and the sell price is how much you're charging it out for. So it can be as simple as saying, well, for a standard hourly rate, it costs the business $50 for my apprentice to work, and then I charge you out at $85 per hour, and that's going to calculate a 70% markup. Or it could be that you say, well, I've bought some materials, which is the flashings. It cost me $15 to buy them, and I'm adding a 50% markup, and then the system has calculated the $22.50. Now, all of these items can be set up as a price book. So when you're adding them to a quote or invoice, you're just selecting from the price book and everything's kind of set and forget. Or you can manually enter them in, enter the values in. You can change the variations as you go. The markups and margins as you go. You can set a default markup on every job as well. So if different jobs have different markups, we could say, for this job, it's going to be a 50% markup, but next week we're doing a job for a friend of a friend and we're giving them some mates rates. So we might lower the markup a little bit. When it comes to adding quotes, you can add as many as you like. So as I said, you'll have your kind of initial quote sent off, accepted, and then you know that there's going to be a change or there's some additional work that needs to be done that was not included in the original quote. So you want to create a variation. It's just as simple as pressing add, and then you can add a new quote. So this is when I started already. I actually changed the name so it's called a variation, and I can add in some additional materials that we weren't expecting to purchase. So I'll just select one from my example price book here. I can say I need 15 of these wallboards, and I'm going to add that in. Now it's been added as a billable item, and the buy price and sell price are already set because it's coming from my price book. And then hit save, and when you're ready, you can send this off to the customer. Now, when a customer receives a quote or an invoice, they will not see the buy prices and the markup. You can choose the kind of template that you would like to send out, but by default, this is what a standard quote will look like. So it will have your business name, ABN. If you've uploaded your logo, it will show on the quotes all the information around the customer's details, and then here's the line items. You can see it's got the quantity and the unit price and then the total amount. It's not showing the buy price or the markup. You can also change the headings and things like that. You can add a little section description if you wanted to. So everything is really customizable. You can add more sections in. So we could add a second section. Just going to make this really obvious. I can add more materials, or I could add some labor in here. So that's added in some more line items. And then when I preview this, you can now see that it's got the original section and now the second section that I've added in more line items, the total value of each section and the total value of the entire quote. And as I said, you can send that off to the customer for them to accept. Now, these quotes are going to act like a budget against the job. So the total of the buy prices is going to be your total budget you're working towards. And then the total of the sell price is your estimated revenue that you can make on the job. And at any point in time, you can come into the job card and then select reports, and you can have a look at your financial report, which is going to show you a really quick summary of how you are financially tracking on this job. And it's going to be real time. So it's based on exactly what's in the system currently. So at the moment, we've actually gone over our labor rates. We estimated only 6 hours worth of labor, but we've spent 40 hours worth of labor already. So very quickly, I can see we're spending a lot of time on the job, and I can very quickly see that I haven't quoted correctly for that, or potentially we need to go and create a variation because something's got askew. And then coming down, we can see in here the estimated cost, which is coming from the quote. Actual cost, so any charges, any invoices, any timesheets that have been added will be accruing in the actual costs. And then you've got your estimated revenue, which was the sell price from the quote, and then anything you've invoiced out. And it's going to show us what's remaining to be invoiced and are we going to make a profit or margin on this job. Now, if you want to get a bit more of a breakdown, you can use the back costing feature. This is really helpful when you have lots of tasks set up and you're using those tasks with quotes and invoices and things like that. In here, you can kind of zoom in and you can see the top section here is the same as the job summary we just looked at. But as we go down, zoom out a little bit more. As we go down, we've got different sections. So you can see here we've got heading 1 and section 2. These were the different sections I added to that variation quote. So over time, as we start to accrue costs, timesheets and things like that for each task, this is going to fill out and it's going to show us how we're tracking at a task level, not just the overall job. Now, moving on, we can talk about team management as well. So Nextminute helps you manage who's doing what when they're working on different things. The first thing is that we've got the job planning screen. This is a Gantt chart, and this is going to show you all of the jobs that you have scheduled and when they're due to finish. So we can see at the moment we've got 3 jobs scheduled. There is a bit of an overlap with most of them. And my new build, which is probably the biggest job we're working on at the moment, isn't scheduled to be finished until February next year. So in that case, I can really quickly see when I have time to start accepting new jobs that come in or new inquiries that come in. So if you get a phone call saying, hey, we want you to come and build our new house, and you know that your team are going to be at full capacity working on William's new build, you're probably not going to start scheduling work until late February, even early March next year. With the Gantt chart, it's not available on mobile or tablet. Reason being is, one, it's quite a hard screen to read. So as you can see, when you first log into the job planning screen, I had to zoom to fit. And it's not showing every single day of the month because there's just not enough room on the screen. So you can imagine if you're looking at a mobile screen, which is even smaller, there's going to be less information showing. Now, the second reason we don't make it available on mobile app is it's actually a drag and drop feature. So if you wanted to reschedule an entire job, say there's a rain delay, so everything needs to be pushed out by a week, you can actually drag this entire bar around and it's going to reschedule the job, but also every task that sits below that job will also be rescheduled by the same length of time. You can also do it for just an individual task. So if just one task has been delayed, not the entire job, you could move that one job. So given it is a drag and drop feature, and when you're using a mobile phone, you will be scrolling, it's really easy to accidentally reschedule something without noticing. So for that reason, we have turned it off, and it won't be available in the mobile app, but it is available on the computer. Now, the other way to see where your team are and what they're doing is by using the calendar view. So with the calendar view, you can have a few different settings or a few different ways that you look at it. So you can see a day, week, month view. And up here is tasks or jobs that are over an extended period of time. So these tasks are taking multiple days to work. And you can see this is task 115, it's general maintenance, and DJ has been assigned to it, Dylan Jones from my team. So he's the user that's been assigned to this job. You can also, under filters, start to look at the calendar by users. You can look at it by task status or job status as well. So if you just want to see everything that's in progress, you could filter by the job status here. And then once that updates, so I've just changed it so we're looking at the all users, I can start to see Brad's time. I keep scrolling across, I've got Dylan's time, my time. So you can see I'm quite busy. I've got a pretty full week here. Dylan's quite busy on Monday. He's got a little bit going on over the rest of the week as well. Brad's looking pretty clear though. So he's just got this SCADA install that needs to be done. So that might mean that I know by Friday he'll be pretty free. So if a new task comes up or I need him to be working somewhere else, I can add a new task directly into his calendar. He will then get a notification that he has had a new task added to him. And then also with scheduling of tasks. So any team member, when they log in, they'll be able to see this task section and they can come in and go, right, let's look at my daily view. What have I got on today? I'm an admin user, so I'm seeing everyone's information because I'm the boss and I need to see it all. But for each individual user, when they log in, they will just see what's been assigned to them. So Dylan would just see his tasks that are scheduled for today, or you can come in and have a look at the whole week, or you can have a look at the whole month. Also with the user roles or the setting up team members, it's really customizable. So if you go into your admin section here, this is all the background settings that relate to Nextminute. Up here, you've got your users and you can add new users in and you can select the roles or permission levels that you would like them to have. So to start with, we always recommend starting with a basic crew member. That will give them permission to see the jobs and tasks, but add timesheets as well, but not much else. Until they get familiar with just adding timesheets, getting familiar with how the job cards work, it's probably the best place to start. And then over time, you might go, you know what, Joe's actually acting like a foreman or a supervisor in a job, so I want to give him a higher level of access. I need him to, start reviewing timesheets or, checking off the charges that have been added. So in that case, you can build your own custom permission roles. You just add it in and you can choose which of the menu items on the left-hand side you want to turn on and off for that user. So we can say we want them to have jobs, tasks, timesheets, contacts, pricing, for example. So you can turn that on. And then within each of these menus, so within the job section, what do we want them to do? Well, we want them to see all the jobs. We want them to upload photos and files. We want them to be able to change the status. I want them to be able to accept or reject a job. Same with the tasks, same with timesheets, so forth. So this can be a little bit overwhelming. There's lots of options and it's a little bit confusing to know if you are selecting the right level of information. I know a lot of people get really funny, like, are my staff going to see pricing that I don't want them to see? So our team will always help you get this set up. So don't worry too much. If you need help, just yell out, we'll help you. But it is really customizable. So the whole point of showing that was just to show you the power that we can kind of give to customize the system to suit your business, because we understand everyone runs their jobs slightly differently. Also, when it comes to customization, you can go into the settings section here, and all of those like colors and statuses that you saw, they can all be customized as well. So we can turn sorry, not turn off, we can add or delete any of these statuses that aren't relevant. You can add in your own kind of workflow. You can add your own colors. So if you want to have like a red light, green light system, you know, jobs that are completed are green and versus jobs that are on hold or red or whatever it may be. So feel free to come in and customize all of this as well. And then just on team members, they can add their timesheets. As you start accruing those costs, as I said, it will start to link them into those jobs as unbilled charges. So any timesheet that gets added will be added as a labour charge. When the staff are adding their labour, they just say, I worked on Monday. They select a job or the task they were working on. Now, they will have to select their rate if they have multiple rates assigned to them. So you might have a staff member who has a standard hourly rate, and then he also has, you know, a working in confined spaces ticket. Therefore, he's going to have a rate where you can charge out more and you have to pay him at a higher rate, or, you know, standard overtime. So they might have an overtime rate that they've worked out. So that's going to cost the business a bit more. And it also means you have to charge out a bit more. Now, if that's the case and there is multiple rates assigned to one person, don't worry. The user is not going to see the dollar values. They will just see the title of the rate. So they'll just see standard hourly rate, and where it says buy and sell price, it will just be white. They won't see anything else. So don't stress. If the pricing is not turned on for that user, they are not going to see it, which is why we always recommend to start with the basic user role as well. So if I said I was working at my standard hourly rate and I worked for 5 hours on this task, I can put a little note in if I wanted to, and now that's added. My total to working for the day was 6 hours. When I go to all jobs, you can see that this unbilled number has just jumped up a little bit, and that's now recording my new timesheet. Now, the same thing, if you want to add in supplier invoices, any purchases that are made, so if you've got, you know, a Bunnings trade account or whatever, and you've gone to Bunnings, you made a whole bunch of purchases, if you're using your accounting software to record all of your receipts, we can import those receipts from the accounting software into Nextminute, and then you can assign them off to the job. That's always the best practice recommendation because it will save double handling. You don't have to enter information twice into different software. If you're not adding all of your bills into your accounting software, then you would need to enter your supplier bills into Nextminute first, and then we can push them across into the accounting software if you want to. And it's just as simple as selecting supplier invoice, adding, or if you have integrated your accounting software, you'll see the option to import them in. So once any of those bills are added, they will come through as a material cost. If it's a subcontractor invoice, you could assign that as labor. And then it will again sit against the job as an unbilled number until the point in time when you go and create an invoice. When it comes to invoicing, there's a whole bunch of different options. So you can add using actual charges. So if you want to pick up all of those unbilled charges and create an invoice, add a markup to it, and then charge them off, you can do it that way. Or if you want to do, or if you are working on a fixed fee and you've got an accepted quote from a customer, you can just turn the quote directly into an invoice. If you're doing progress claims, you can do a point in time invoice using actual charges, or you could do a percentage of the quote. So we could say we're ready to invoice 20% of that quote now. Or if you want to take a deposit up front, you could do 20% of the quote and then, you know, the remaining 80% at the end of the job. So it's really customizable how this all works. Creating or adding an invoice is exactly the same process as adding a quote. They look and feel the same way. So I won't go into too much detail there. And then at the end of the job, you can always come back and look at your different reports, so your financial report or your back costing report, and see how everything is progressing as you've started to accrue costs. And then you can also look at one more report here is the, in the report section is the WIP report. So again, this is a financial report showing you very similar information, but this time we are looking at, zoom in a bit. This time we're looking at every single job that has been created. So you can see we've got 3 job counts, and this is the total quoted, estimated cost, total cost, target invoice, and the total invoice so far. And then we can very quickly see at the bottom a bit of a summary of what's going on in the job. So, you know, what's the status? So if you are doing, you know, kind of whip meetings or toolbox talks and you want to do a quick whip around of what's going on. This report's really helpful to use. And at the very bottom, you've got the total of everything. So you can see like the percentage completed, you can see the overall margins of the entire business based on every single job. And you can also see the total profit. So at the moment, we're not doing too great. I need to put some energy into these 2 jobs to get them back on track. So really helpful to have those WIP conversations during a WIP meeting or toolbox talk, just to make sure everyone's staying on track. And then if it's not on track, to be able to course correct. So that's most of the highlights reel of Nextminute. There's a whole bunch of like additional features that we haven't even touched on. You can see in the menu bar, there's a whole bunch of other stuff here that I didn't talk about. But if you resonated with anything today, or if there's anything where you're like, oh yeah, that would really help my team, get in touch.
Beautiful. Thanks very much, Emily. And I think just to recap, in order to be able to grow and scale, you need to have very effective operations and systems in place. And Nextminute absolutely provides that support. So from our perspective, there's nothing to lose to go in and give it a try and see if it's going to help you, which I'm sure it will, in giving you more confidence and more stability in how you operate. And as Emily said, if you go to nextminute.com/CA to get started, you'll be able to connect with the team and organise some support from the wonderful support team. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning into today's webinar. Hope you took a lot from it, and we look forward to speaking to you again soon.